everyone. So this video is going to be a summer reading recommendation list. There's going to be 7 books on it. I've always been a bit of a bookworm myself since I was a little girl, and this summer I've kind of gotten back into it. So I want to give you guys some recommendations of some books I think are really worth your time. Okay, so for the first book I don't have with me. First, heard about this book in my African American literature course, and I'm so glad I did. It's called number 1. These are all not in any particular order, by the way. A Different Drummer by William Marvin Kelly. Sorry, I didn't mean to start tapping. You guys, this is an old book. I was so upset to know I had never even heard of it because it was so well written. Let me know for sure if you've read this book in the comments because first of all, let me just say the writing is kind of scary at first. He has very rich writing, but once you kind of get used to his style, it isn't as complicated as it seems. It's actually really well developed writing. It's good stuff. But yeah. After the story of the African, which is Tucker Caliban's ancestor, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but 10 out of 10 book. Highly recommend. Okay, number 2, I actually have this book with me, and it's called, trigger warning kinda, The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang, right? Yes. So I actually got interested in this because I had stumbled on a tweet that had kind of been criticizing this girl's tattoo because she had gotten the red sun, which is Japan's symbol. And he basically was like, I took this class and we forget how horrible the Japanese army was, and that's messed up. So I went to go get this book. I kind of have an interest in history. I'm kind of all over the place, but when I read the introduction, she actually has ties to my hometown in Illinois and the school there. She and her parents were involved there. So, yeah. And then also, I hadn't found out until I finished the book that she actually ended up committing suicide. And that really made me sad when I found out because I couldn't help but wonder if it possibly could have some sort of connection to the research and time she put into the absolute travesties horror movie, like the worst of the worst things you can imagine being done to people, and these are her people's history. I can't imagine the toll that would take, but I have no idea the background behind that. Anyways, I know you're probably like, why would I read this if it's so depressing? This is definitely for the people who have a particular interest in history or strong stomachs. I usually can handle a good amount. I found myself like going fast and then trying to get it over with, but then also having to go slow because it would kind of put me in a mood when it was super dark, but I'm also just sensitive. So yeah, I still recommend it. Rest in peace. Number 3. This is one of my favorite books. I don't know if this is weird or if it's common knowledge that this book was just phenomenal. I've read this book twice. The first time I read this book was when it was assigned in our AP English class. And I don't think I fully got it, but it stuck with me nonetheless. I mean, it's like quite a big book, but I remember I was on a trip to Minnesota, and I was just like, my nose, Sky, chill. I was just hooked. I read it a second time at like the end of 2023, and I just had such a deeper appreciation for it. I kind of have an interest in different religions, and I grew up with quite a religious mother, Christian, so even though people talk about the political drive behind this book, and I guess Barbara Kingsolver is criticizing, people in the church or that try to push their agendas and all that jazz. I really didn't mind too much about that. I didn't care. I actually just genuinely enjoyed the writing, incorporating some biblical text, even if maybe she was doing it in a mocking way or criticizing it in the same whatever. I still found beauty in the way she writes. She is a really great writer. If you want to be literally transported to Africa and stick with a family over like 20 years and get really close with a bunch of different characters, I highly, highly, highly recommend. So we're on number 4. We have Giovanni's Room. If you like love stories, can't recommend this enough. If you like gay love stories, look no further. Giovanni's Room, I've read this one twice too. It's the perfect book to take like on a little vacation trip to Mexico, like really gets the imagination going, you know, getting inspired to fall in love. I can't recommend it enough. Takes place in Paris. It is emotionally taxing, but what James Baldwin work isn't. You know, he has a purpose in his writing. He finds your vulnerabilities, your dreams, and he stomps on. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, and let me know if you read this one. Man, it was like reading poetry. It hurts still. Just leave it at that. Okay, number 5. This one, The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. This one wasn't assigned, but I did come across it while I was taking my African American literature course. Toward the end, we had an assignment where we were supposed to pick our own literary work that was kind of on par with our class theme, which is besides the point. I ended up picking The Invisible Man because I thought it was popping up a lot, and then, you know, I realized, wow, this is a really important book. Another one that I haven't yet read. I'm the type of person, if there's a really great book I haven't read yet, I want to read it, period. And I found it really honest. I think this is the most honest perspective of the Black male's experience I've ever read. Just the humiliating aspect of it, the like parts you wince at, just it was so honest, and I appreciated it completely. And while I could empathize and see it from the perspective of a Black male in America when racism was a little more in your face, but what was I saying? I could also see it through the lens of the dissociative lens. I could relate to that too, because, you know, the idea of you just don't have a strong sense of who you are, you leave yourself vulnerable to being influenced by outside forces, and you really don't know their intent. A lot of times it's not in your best interest. It leaves you feeling lost. Yes, but I recommend, if you do read it, take your time, because it's rich, it's full, it's full, like it's a full story. So number 6, this one is kind of a psychology book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score: Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk. And it's basically this psychologist's findings over the years on, and just his findings of how trauma can get stored in the body, and his tips on how to like kind of get yourself back in your body. The information and tools that are in this book, I would push on everybody. I feel like everyone needs to know this. I feel like it should be in schools. Trauma can create dissociation, and if it's not dealt with, you can literally be like dissociated completely from your life experience. I'm a psychology major, so stuff like this interests me. I also am insane, so, you know, it's good to have some information, some help. Just kidding. Number 7, it matches my shirt, the Bhagavad Gita. I hope I'm reading that right. My really good friend that I worked with, he was actually kind of my guru for a while. Okay, so really good. If you want all the secrets of life, if you want tips, if you value discipline, if you have a high moral code, you can't really say too much about this one. It's a whole personal experience. It took me a few tries to get hooked, but once I was hooked, I was literally like page turning like to 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah. So anyways, those are my books right now. I tried to, some of these books I've read this year. I'm keeping a list of the best books I'm reading of 2024. But a couple of those were just books that stuck with me from years ago. So I'm happy to share with you. And if you're a bookworm and check these out, I would love to know your opinion. Well, kind of, but The Witching Hour. This is the one I'm at. What page am I on? There's like over 1,000 pages, and I'm on 708. So we're making our way. Very good. She's the one that wrote Interview with the Vampire. So Anne Rice, she's like a legend. They actually just started a show based on it, and it's actually pretty good.